A warning tonight for pet owners after a Moorhead woman will have to settle the fate of her dog in court. Thank you for joining us. Mike has the night off. A pit bull named Major is back home tonight after hundreds of locals searched for him. Police say the owner's ex-boyfriend took Major from her car on Sunday. As far as who gets to keep the dog, that'll have to be settled in civil court. And many people are surprised that there won't be any criminal charges filed against the ex-boyfriend. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Nicole Johnson explains.
Come on, Gabby.
People are so excited about getting a new pet, and they don't think about their relationship and if it'll last or not.
When you adopt a pet from Homeward Bound Animal Shelter, you'll have to fill out paperwork, including who the actual owner will be.
You have to divide the animal up, and someone's going to end up with it because you can't split them in half. So you have to decide who's going to take them if something happens to the relationship.
If you're getting a dog with a boyfriend or girlfriend, it's important to have that conversation and keep your paperwork in case you need to prove it.
And it really just depends on how cruel the people who are involved want to be.
Dogs are considered property, so taking someone's dog is considered theft and criminal. But police say where it starts to get complicated is when you enter a relationship and have a boyfriend or girlfriend living with you, or maybe a family member or a roommate. If cops are called, they'll temporarily place the animal with where they see fit, but can only pursue charges if there is clear ownership over the animal. The dispute is no longer criminal when you muddy the waters with agreements, like living together, sharing vet bills, or letting people watch your dog. It's harder for police to say it's stolen and that people are in possession of stolen property, meaning you'll wind up giving time and money to civil court to get it figured out.
If you're looking at adopting a pet together, have a discussion beforehand about who is going to keep the animal if anything does happen to the relationship.
Nicole Johnson, Valley News Live.
If you do end up going to civil court to settle ownership over a pet, once that ownership is granted to you, then you can press criminal charges against someone who steals it. A former employee at the University of North Dakota will spend more than a decade behind bars after an investigation revealed he had child pornography. Robert Beatty was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison after investigators found over 3,000 images and 100 videos of child pornography at his office and home. Beatty was previously the department chair for family and community medicine at UND. Police have a warning tonight about marijuana being sold in the Bismarck area that may be laced with fentanyl and meth. A man went to the ER of a hospital in Bismarck saying he had taken 2 hits of marijuana, immediately felt sick, and then decided he needed a doctor right away. That man tested positive for marijuana, meth, and fentanyl. Valley News Team's Giovanna Simic has our story.
With the ongoing opioid abuse in this area and around the state, and after finding marijuana possibly laced with fentanyl and meth in Bismarck, there's no question police are concerned.
Marijuana is probably more widespread used than heroin is, so if people are going to be accidentally ingesting fentanyl, the very low level of fentanyl can be lethal, at very low dosages, so that's pretty dangerous business.
Brandon Muse, who's a proponent of medical marijuana, says finding marijuana laced with drugs is rare.
It's not very common. As far as I know, it happens on occasion.
But Muse says mixing marijuana with other drugs can make their effects really unpredictable.
The combination of the cannabis with it, it doesn't change or intensify or anything with the cannabis. It just will be a different high or a different effect.
I spoke with the owner of a blood and urine testing facility in Fargo to find out how hard it is to test someone who's got a mixture of drugs in their system. He said it's not easy.
When you're talking about urine drug testing, almost all the drugs are out of your system within 2 to 4 days, except for marijuana, which can hang around for 30, 35 days.
That's why we're fighting so hard and with so many people for cannabis law reforms, because people need safe and secure access in order to not have things like this happen.
Giovanna Simic, Valley News Live.
We reached out to local police departments to see if they have found laced marijuana in the Fargo-Moorhead area. We haven't heard back yet. Fentanyl can be fatal if swallowed, inhaled, or absorbed through the skin. In St. Paul today, the family of Philando Castile announced that a lawsuit will be filed in connection with his death. Castile was shot and killed by a police officer during a traffic stop. Philando's mother, Valerie Castile, said the lawsuit was filed to make sure another mother doesn't go through what she did. Also today, a White House spokesman revealed that President Obama personally called Valerie Castile to offer his condolences. More than a month after he lost out to Hillary Clinton in their fight for the Democratic presidential nomination, Bernie Sanders endorsed his former rival today. Clinton agreed to push Sanders' proposals, such as free college and a public option for health care. According to today's NBC News Survey Monkey poll, Clinton's lead dropped to 3% over Donald Trump nationally. 56% believe Clinton's carelessness with classified emails was criminal. Donald Trump says he plans to name his running mate this week to try to unify Republicans before their convention starts next Monday. Meanwhile, Attorney General Loretta Lynch declined to answer questions today on the investigation into Clinton's emails and the decision not to prosecute, telling lawmakers it would not be appropriate. Lynch appeared before the House Judiciary Committee and was asked repeatedly about the Justice Department's decision to not pursue charges in the case. She referred committee members to FBI Director James Comey's statements, saying she announced a while ago her intention to accept the recommendation of the investigative team.
It would be inappropriate for me to comment further on the underlying facts of the investigation or the legal basis for the team's recommendation.
Lynch said the case was not influenced in any way by her meeting with Bill Clinton a week before she announced there would be no charges against Hillary. The Grand Forks Downtown Development Association has hired a new director. Her name is Sarah Prout. She recently worked in marketing positions at Cabela's and Construction Engineers. She'll continue to lead operations of the organization, along with current projects such as the Art and Wine Walk, Blues on the Red, Downtown Street Fair, and Holly Dazzle Festival of Lights. The Downtown Development Association promotes economic development and business diversity. And remember to like Valley News Live on Facebook. You can follow the latest news, weather, and breaking news updates anytime on your feed. Just search Valley News Live, like our page, and you'll stay informed throughout the entire day. Starting tomorrow morning, parts of downtown Fargo will be closed for the street fair. Broadway will be closing north of Main Avenue to 6th Avenue North. The intersections at NP Avenue, 1st Avenue North, and 4th Avenue North will remain open for through traffic during the event. Broadway will reopen late Saturday night. And remember, street parking is free all day, and time limit restrictions are lifted after 5 p.m. on weekdays. On Saturdays, there are no time restrictions. Storms have dumped a lot of rain in the valley the past 3 days, leading to some major flooding in parts of Minnesota and minor flooding closer to Fargo. The owner of this home in Vergas, Minnesota, says it was surrounded by water. She says they received 4 inches of rain in their rain gauge around 2 Monday afternoon until now. Most of the water had receded by early today.
A lot of water. It was when we came home from our anniversary dinner, and it just was completely, it was just water every place.
And that should have been by early afternoon. The water had receded. The Becker County Emergency Manager said the Detroit Lakes area had some flooded streets, plus a flooded baseball field and park.